strive towards the limitless possibilities of excellence. Them giving up is not an option. They are champions, and they want to reach ultimate reward of becoming Olympic champions. In the same way, only though on a spiritual level, we as Christians should be champions for Christ. Hebrews 12:2 tells us, "So let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." So like an athlete that turns away from things that will distract or keep them away from their Olympic goal, we must keep our eyes on the prize. So we must ask ourselves this question: what things of the world are seeping into our souls, distracting and keeping us away from our God-given goals? Well, for one thing, we keep looking back. Remember, Hebrews 12:2 said the race is set before us. Back in 1954 in Vancouver for the British Empire and Commonwealth Games, a mile race was run. Two men, John Landry and Roger Bannister, for the first time had run the mile in less than 4 minutes. Landry was ahead the entire race. As he was approaching the finish line, Landry looked over his left shoulder to see where Bannister was. At that same time, Bannister came up on Landry's blind side, pulled ahead and won the race. Landry looked back, and it cost him the gold medal. A statue outside the stadium of those two men memorialized the race. One runner is looking ahead, and one is looking back. Which runner are you? Another thing we do as Christians is let the world around us influence what we do. We should do what God has called us to do. We should live each day as a champion of faith. James 4:17 says, "So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin." We must never forget that we are citizens of heaven, not of earth, and that our conduct should match our citizenship. One good example of a champion of faith is the track runner Eric Liddell. He was a top athlete and excellent sprinter. He was chosen to represent England in the 1924 Paris Olympics. He was thrown the 100-meter race. Upon arriving in Paris, he realized that the 100-meter race was going to take place on a Sunday. His excitement of running in the Olympics was dampened by this news. Because you see, for Eric Liddell, Sundays were for going to church, not for running races. And since Eric was the son of missionaries to China, he was taught at a young age what it meant to serve and follow God. So Eric Liddell pulled himself out of the 100-meter race, refusing to run on a Sunday, and decided to run the 400-meter race that would not be run on a Sunday. This was a huge shock to everyone, because Eric was a 100-meter man. No one thought he could do it. Why would he jeopardize this once-in-a-lifetime Olympic opportunity? After all, it would be just one Sunday out of his lifetime. And although Eric received enormous pressure about this, he did not compromise. The day of the 400-meter race, Eric prayed, ran the race, and won the gold medal. He won in a race he was not expected to win. And he did not let those around him in the world compromise his decision, and God honored him for it. And as you might have seen, Eric Liddell's success wasn't in his gold medal achievement, but in his walk with God. Another thing we do as Christians is limit ourselves. We do things as if it is only through our power. God's power is what brings us to the finish line. God's power is what gives us our victory. Winston Churchill during the Second World War said, "You ask, what is our aim? I can't answer in one word. It is victory. Victory at all costs. Victory. However long and hard the road may be, for without victory, there is no survival." You see, for athletes, victory means survival. Victory is what brings the Olympic athlete further in the competition and eventually to the prize. If they fail, their part in the Olympics is over. We as Christians must have a laser beam of victory pointing ahead of us, because it says in Romans 8:37, "In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us." We have victory in Christ, therefore we survive. We have victory in Christ, therefore we can help others survive. In the Sochi Russian Olympics, I heard a story about a skier from Switzerland who crossed the finish line first, earning in the gold medal. 28 minutes later, a skier from Peru, skiing his first Olympics, crossed the finish line last in 87th place with a broken rib. The first place gold medalist from Switzerland came out to congratulate the 87th skier. This act of sportsmanship reminded me of what God does at the end of a Christian's life. God's waiting there, cheering on the Christian that suffered and struggled, the Christian that pushed forward through all his wounds and scars, the Christian that became victorious in Christ's name. But at the end of this race, God is waiting to congratulate that Christian, saying, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Are you willing to be a champion for Christ, to live in limitless victory, to receive your gold medal in heaven and be congratulated by God? If so, ready, set, go. Don't look back, don't compromise your faith, and don't limit what God can do in you. Thank you.